Welcome back, everyone, to Breaking Apart. Sorry, I had to introduce the show today. We couldn't do any promoting for any other TV shows. Sorry, I'm over here adjusting my mic. So, welcome back. Another Wednesday. We're ready to talk about same thing we talked about last week. We have questions we need to answer. We have other things we're going to go through. In the studio today, I have Vanessa.
Hi guys, welcome. I am Vanessa. Follow me at agape_love_Reiki. And thank you for joining us. I'm excited. Part 2.
And we also have Anna Shell.
I'm back.
Yeah.
You know I had to be here for part 2. The cheese man was so good that I'm like, okay, I need to be here for the second round. So my name is Anna Shell and my Instagram is at Anna Shell. Wait, can we say something really quick?
Yeah.
I know that Vanessa talked about retrograde and like taking the time to
Focus.
Yeah. And so we could just address the elephant in the room. I had a Britney Spears moment. So,
I loved it.
Yeah.
It looks
So I
beautiful.
decided to do pink,
Although on camera it kind of looks red.
Does it look red?
But guys, it's pink.
It's pink.
Purple.
It's not. It's magenta.
It looks really good though.
My hairdresser wants to kill me. So, okay.
It looks
Just wanted
amazing.
to address that. Thank you.
We also going to address how Facebook and Instagram went down, and Vanessa predicted it last week.
My phone is still
Retrograde.
acting up.
She's like the reincarnation of Walter Mercado.
Okay, I watched this documentary and I literally was like,
Yeah, it
crying.
was
Oh,
so
we watched it
good.
together.
I was crying. He was a part of my childhood. He was a part of like my growing up. We watched it what was it? He was on what? Primer Impacto? or something?
Univision.
Univision.
Something like that.
Are you
And
sure it wasn't Telemundo?
I don't remember.
Whatever. Yeah, one of those two.
All I know is
I do have some Walter in me though.
Yeah.
He was so amazing.
I feel like after watching that, I just fell like more in love with who he is.
Me
He's-
too.
I
Yeah.
know, but they took advantage of him.
I know. It's so sad.
Well, guys, retrograde will be over on October 18th, so we can all resume our normally scheduled program.
I just want my phone to go back to normal.
I know. Yeah, Sprint's like, oh, T-Mobile, whatever.
Yeah.
Can't do nothing for you. I was like, so how was your guys this week? Like, any highlights of your week? For me, I learned how to golf this week. I went golfing.
Golfing is fun.
I released so much stress. I was hitting the shit out of that ball. Let me tell you, it was going the wrong way, but it was going far.
Hitting the ball didn't stress you out?
No.
No?
The way it was curving was stressing me out. Because,
Oh.
I'm very particular.
Yeah.
It was curving to...
Mm.
It was curving.
Mm. There we go.
I'm so glad it's not me this week.
I know. It's Ruby.
It's me. I'm a little nervous, you guys, because the Dodgers are playing. So,
Just kidding.
But Vanessa, what's your highlight? Did you learn how to do anything new? What's your highlight of the week?
Actually, my highlight of the week is the fact I was about 2 months behind on school, and last night I banged it out.
Nice.
Yeah, I did 2 months worth of school.
Sheesh.
I did it all last night, and this morning took my test, passed with 90 or above.
What?
Yeah.
Round of applause for that.
Round of applause.
You educated,
Independent,
girl.
educated.
Thank you. So, yeah, I learned a lot of really cool stuff. I took one of the classes was on communication skills. The other one was on great masters and teachers. There was one on I can't even think of the other one. There's 4. And
Well, it's a lot of work.
it's a lot. It was a lot. It's a lot of
Yeah.
reading, but you know what? It's really cool to be able to read all that information and kind of like use it in your daily life. And then I use it a lot in my practice. So I feel like the more I learn, the more I can help my clients, and the more I'm able to help them navigate to get to where they want to be.
Yeah, that's
You know?
awesome.
Real quick, shout out to Jojo. She watches us every week.
Jojo.
Yay.
What's up, Jojo?
What's up,
Thank you for
Jojo?
watching us.
Jojo, I love you.
every week. Cool. Sorry. I just had to
Yeah.
give a shout. What about you?
Well, I mean, other than the obvious of the
Fair.
pink, that's definitely a highlight. I have not done any like crazy fashion colors in ever, I think. Oh no, I actually did do like a purple once and a gray.
You
but,
did like a great, yeah. I
Yeah,
was gonna say
but
that.
this is like the most extreme I've done in a long time. And my business is expanding. I just hired an assistant.
Oh, nice. Congrats.
Yeah, thank you. I'm super excited to have someone on board on my team. You know, my team growing. The little business I have, I'm hoping will. No, I'm gonna manifest it.
Yes.
It's going to be.
Exactly.
It's gonna grow. It's gonna be big.
grow.
Yeah.
It's already big.
Yeah. The fact that I just hired someone on is really awesome.
That is really
I would
big.
say that's my highlight.
Word. All right, you guys. So thank you for sharing.
Yeah.
Appreciate
Thank you for asking.
Yeah,
Yeah,
thanks
for
for
sure.
asking.
You guys have any embarrassing moments that you want to share?
I dropped a weight on my toe.
Oh, that must
At
have
the gym.
hurt.
Yeah.
I had an embarrassing moment.
Tell
Someone
me.
was sharing with me what they do for a living, and we're talking, and then he goes, "Yeah, I work with PR." I was like, "Okay, Puerto Ricans." And he was like, "Yeah, because they make great food." And I was like, "Wait, why would you be working with Puerto Ricans?" It was public relations.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So that was
That's
my dumb moment and my embarrassing moment of the week. I mean, very Hispanic of me, right? If you would have said DR, I would have thought it was Dominican Republic.
Yeah. I get it.
So whatever. So let's get into what we were talking about last week. So last week we were talking about financial responsibility based on relationship status. Who pays first date? You move in with your boyfriend. Who split the bills? You're married. Who gets to pay?
Mhm.
Right? I rewatched the show. I don't know if you guys did.
Sure did.
There's a couple things I want to.
You guys know that I like do the podcast and then I'm like so apprehensive about watching it, but I watch some parts of it. I watch
the
like
whole
what
thing.
you say, I watch what you say, and then I skip everything I say.
Really? You had a lot of useful information.
Cute.
Just
She did watch my facial expressions. We laughed about those for like 20 minutes.
Oh, yeah.
I have the worst facial
Okay,
expressions.
guys, if you just want to get a kick out of the podcast, like just focus on Ruby's facial expressions.
Yeah.
Like seriously, you can just we can make memes out of your
We
facial
Don't do that.
expressions.
Don't do that.
We definitely
Don't
must
do
Yeah.
that. Oh my goodness. Listen.
What is it, gifts?
Listen, Linda. So I had said that I don't think a man should pay for I think it should be half and half.
Mhm.
But then I still think it should be half and half. But what I didn't make clear is if I know for some people for some men they're raised that way, they're molded that way, and they take pride in paying for most of it.
Mhm.
And I think I shouldn't stop them based on my alpha personality. But I think that if a man is willing to pay for half of everything, whether it's a boyfriend, a husband, whatever. And I mean, we can get into this conversation. I know we kind of talked about it. I don't think he should expect, one, to be held above the woman because you're paying more. Two, like basically use it against her. And then three, you shouldn't expect to come home to a clean house, laundry, and food on the table because you felt more comfortable doing something. You shouldn't push the agenda on another person.
I mean, that's a good point.
So I think maybe I wasn't as clear on that part. I know that for me, my thing is, ladies, even if he's willing to pay for half of everything or everything, don't stop growing.
Mm-hmm.
Because if he was willing to do it yesterday, doesn't mean he's not willing to do it. He's going to be doing it today. And people change.
Yeah,
Feelings change.
I do want to say that we had somebody comment and say that they, the wife stayed at home and took care of the kids, and the husband worked full time, and that just worked for them. But then she later commented and said, "But that doesn't work now." So it worked for them back then when their kids were little, and the kid, she homeschooled and stuff like that. And now she's her own person. Like now she has a career, she's working, and so she said that it doesn't always have to be the same. So like if you're a stay-at-home mom, it doesn't mean you have to be a stay-at-home mom all the time. Your roles can change at any given time. So she did let me know. She said, "You know what? I commented that, but I do want to add something to it. That's not who I am now."
That's awesome.
Yeah. So even though it worked for us at that time, I shifted into a different role now that my kids are older. So
Shout out to Veronica. She is watching us too, and she watches us every week.
Hi, Veronica.
hi, Veronica.
Yeah.
Well, I would say one thing when I went back to look at it, and I said that I think a man should contribute more, which I still stand firmly in that. But also circumstance-wise, like I feel like I do agree with the way that you and your husband are, just as far as like that 50-50 and, you know, you guys swapping. I think in a marriage setting, you do have to give each other that opportunity to grow in your purpose, right? Because
Correct,
I feel like if you just get stuck on all the like mommy duties and all that, it's like you start to lose your identity.
Yes.
I mean, I got a glimpse of it for 3 months, you know, me taking time off of work. And after a while, I was like, I'm losing my mind.
Yeah.
Get out of this house, you know, because it's a lot. So I'm falling more to that 50-50 now, you know, because I mean, yeah, maybe I do bring in more financially in my home, but that doesn't necessarily mean like, well, my man still has to give in more.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
That makes sense.
Just because I think he should provide more. No, I think that if I have it, I'm obviously gonna
Contribute.
contribute.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I don't want it to be abused. You know what I mean? But I think when you have children and in a marriage, I think it's like that's kind of the agreement that you guys have. You know?
Yeah, I think all marriages are different in that sense as well. I grew up with both of my parents working. They both worked all the time. They both contributed. Sometimes my dad contributed more. Maybe sometimes my mom did, depending on, you know, whatever their finances were. But I didn't really see the whole the woman stays home. Maybe like in Mexico, I have a lot of family in Mexico. Maybe like in Mexico, it's still a little bit like that. And I think it's because it's a little bit easier for one income, an one income household.
Absolutely, yeah.
But I know for a fact here in the States, it's really, really difficult to have a one income household. And I know that for a reason because, you know, at first for us, we were kind of like, okay, yeah, if we want the kind of lifestyle that we like, then there has to be a 2 income household. But, you know, I grew up with both my parents working. They were always good providers. My dad, he would cook. My mom, she would cook. You know, my dad always took care of like the garden, and we always had like the most beautiful backyard and like beautiful grass and stuff. And my mom, you know, she would like clean. And I don't know, like I also saw that they both did a little bit of everything, you know. So my parents, I never felt like, you know, one did more than the other. I didn't see that. Maybe it happened, you know, but I didn't really see it. I just saw both my parents. So then I kind of grew up. And also too, like, I did see, yeah, you're a little bit like I'm a daddy's girl, you know? And so I tend to like gravitate a lot towards my dad, you know? And so then when I got married, I kind of brought that with me to where like I gravitate a lot towards my husband in that sense where I want to like make him feel good and, you know, stuff like that. But it didn't have anything to do with finances, like nothing. It was just how I felt, how I wanted to be, or, you know,
Yeah,
like
absolutely.
I think you understand my point. But so yeah, that was what I saw. And I think like it kind of fell into what I'm doing
who you
right
are
now. Who I am. Yeah.
Same.
Go ahead, Ruby.
Tell us.
No, so what I wanted to say earlier is I wanted to bring up, I'm sorry. Woo! This game got me tripping. No, I wanted to bring up like how someone told me a lot of times the man makes more, right? Naturally, the man makes more than the woman, 70 cents to $1 in this country, I believe it's what they say. And it's always been like a fight, right? It's like the feminist fight, like, oh, women don't make as much as men, we don't get the same opportunities. So I feel like that's part of why a lot of times the women feel like they need to stay home and the men have to go to work, right? Living in Vegas, though, we know that's not the case.
Absolutely.
Living in Vegas, a lot of females make more money of your bottle servers, your hairstylists, your cocktail servers. You know, everything here is about looks, right? So girls make most of the money.
We run this town.
We run the world.
Girls.
So, as far as that, I just want to touch some like facts on that because I feel like it is such a misconception that men just all across the board make more money. But Vanessa and I had a conversation about it, and we talked about how a lot of times it's hard for women with children to take certain jobs, and that's okay. And we need to normalize that, right? Instead of being like if I'm a business owner and I require whoever runs my business to travel a lot, and I know she's a single mom, it's going to sound more appropriate for me to hire someone who doesn't have children or someone who's married with the support of a stay-home wife.
Makes sense.
Right? But we don't normalize that. We automatically say, oh, you know, the feminist movement, they want to make it seem like because you're a female, you don't get the opportunity, period. So I feel like that's kind of, for me, out the window. Like, I feel like both male and female, we live in a time when we both have potential to make bank. You know what I mean? Like, I don't even think that's a thing anymore. Yeah. I'm not saying it doesn't happen. I'm not saying that there's not like CEOs and big dogs and companies who don't give females the same opportunity. I'm not saying that, you know, there's not sexes out there. Of course there is. But successful women are starting to be the same way.
I agree.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, you know, you'll have a director and she probably wants all females below her. It's an empowerment.
Yeah.
Right? But we kind of don't give men, like, we don't respect men doing it, but then as females, we do. Right? We're going to break the table over here. If something happens, it wasn't me. So what I'm trying to say is, like, how do you guys feel about that? Do you feel like because for the longest time men made more money that we stayed in that mentality instead of shifting that the female can now make the same amount of money, and that's why that expectation for men to still pay for everything is there?
I feel that.
Does that make sense?
No, it does.
It makes sense. And I understand where you're coming from, because there's certain jobs that do require a certain type of personality as well. And sometimes that type of personality, there are females that do a great job, like an amazing job. And I think everyone should be equal. You know, I'm all about balance, and everything should be in a balance, you know, male, female, all of that. But I think that personality trait has a lot to do with the type of jobs. And sometimes women are more empathic than men. It's just a given. We are a lot more empathic. We are empaths. And a lot of it is due to the nature that we are mothers, and that we are, you know, that we have babies. So we care a lot more about people, and we care a lot more about their feelings, and we're very emotional beings. Okay. And so I think there are some jobs that require that, what's the name of, when you're just kind of like cold, like not numb, but to the point where you're not going to allow your feelings to get involved if you have to fire someone, or if you have to, you know, do a business deal that, you know, a lot of people are going to lose their jobs, like these,
like making big decisions.
Yeah. A lot.
Is that why we don't have a woman president? Is that
I actually think that would be a really good thing, having a female, because like I said in the last show, it used to be the world was run by women before. So I do think that we do make good decisions, but there are right now jobs that do kind of require a little bit of like just that cold hardness, you know? And I think for a lot of women, that's very difficult for them to not get emotionally involved.
I have to agree with her. I know you may not agree with me, but you're also very stern. I'm assuming that you're.
No, I'm not disagreeing with you guys. I agree with you guys. I don't know if it's an empath thing or a business thing.
I think I think
women have that thing that you're talking about. Like, no matter who it is, you have it. It's like that nurturing, emotional, you know. And I think that not many women could put their foot down and be like, "Hey, I'm gonna sit you down. You're fired."
Yeah, like, but women will tear down a woman and make sure she gets fired, not through her, but through somebody else.
But she wouldn't do it to her face.
Yeah, women can be catty, but that's like a whole other subject of why women are like that.
But you're right. Like, I think that some jobs do, like, you know, men, and I feel like there's certain jobs too. Like, it can be kind of scary, you know. Imagine being like, I don't know, someone who has this title, and you're letting go of people, and you're like in the room about to fire a dude that you don't know how he's gonna react.
Right.
You know,
physically,
yeah. Or like Yeah.
Mhm.
So, or I feel like sometimes like there's still a lot of ignorant males who won't give females that respect when they're higher up in management or in the company. I mean, there's a lot of ignorant females too, but what I'm saying is in that level of work, right?
Mm-hmm.
Same thing when we had a lady running for president, we heard a lot of ignorant comments about her being a female, right?
Mhm.
So I feel like I get it. Sometimes there is that blockage of like women growing in companies, and there's so many different factors that play on it. I just don't know if that means we can't have the capacity to make the same amount of money. Does that make sense? And
Yeah.
I feel like all they're focusing is like, who's the CEO? Who's the CEO? Who's the CEO? And it's like, there's other aspects to that company. Most HRs are ran by females,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they are.
and they make bank. Like
Yeah.
HR represent, like HR management. But they're behind the scene. Nobody sees that. They see the people speaking, right?
And HR is actually a pretty difficult job as well because
Mhm.
you have to make those decisions.
Mhm.
And I think because I mean men have this too, but women have this like instinct where they like meet people and it's easier for them to like analyze and say like, okay, yeah, I feel like this person might not be right for the job because, you know, blah blah blah, and they have that capability to like really just have, you know, sit down with you and just intuitively know
Mm-hmm.
if that person is going to be good for you or not. Why? Because of the fact that we're empaths.
Yeah.
And when you're an empath, you connect with the person. Like right off the bat, you'll be like, oh, they'll come in and you're like, oh, I don't know. You know?
You look sad. Sit down. Let me get you a coffee.
Yeah, seriously.
No, but and I get it. And then so also I wanted to talk about, we talked about that part cultural wise. You know,
Mhm.
all three of us here were Mexican. We grew up, most of us, in a household where the man made most of the money.
Mhm.
You know, mom stayed home. I know you said your situation was a little different.
Mhm.
I grew up my mom started working when we moved to Vegas. So prior in California, she didn't work, right? Your mom,
Single mom.
single mom, hustler, her mom is like a completely different ball game. Like,
Yeah. She's,
you know, so it's cool because we get to see all three sides. We get
Yeah.
to see my mom who was married and she was like a stay home for a while. And then we get to see your parents, and then we get to see your mom who was a single mom. My mom started working and she was still cooking and cleaning, right? And now she's divorced and she could have done so much more for herself. And that's where like my point comes to, like, don't stop growing. Even if he's like, I'm gonna pay your bills.
I
Hmm.
agree.
You know what I mean? That is like the purpose. I know last week it sounded really like feminist, like when how I was coming off. I was like, nah, F that, you know, do you? But you never know. Or what if your husband gets sick
Mhm.
and now you got to run the company or you got to run the household and you got to pay the bills? What if your husband legit gets in the bad car accident? What are you going to do now?
Right.
You
That's a
should
good point.
always be prepared, like always. And I think like that's where it comes in, where girls get real comfortable with these dudes that pay all their bills. And I mean, girls ain't all innocent. You end up not being able to work, they might leave you. Once a girl gets comfortable not working and not paying her bills, she will move on to the next provider.
What
do you mean? I'm lost.
Like, you think that she's gonna find someone else to take care of her?
Yeah.
Okay.
If you're comfortable for long enough.
Well,
know
if
what I'm
you're
saying?
a codependent person,
That's what I'm saying.
yes.
Yeah.
That will happen. There's people who are codependent, there's people who are resilient, and there's people who are just you know, a little bit more in tune with themselves. So I think if one of your core traumas is codependency, yeah, you're going to bounce from relationship to relationship and find somebody that's going to take care of you.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're a person who's resilient, then no, you're going to realize that that relationship didn't work, and it should be on a personal level. And then she's going to probably move on to be, you know, whoever she is, and then try to find a partner that matches her vibe,
Yeah.
you
That's
know.
a good point.
But codependency is like an actual
Thing.
thing. Like there's, you know how there's like what is it, AA
Mhm.
or like Alcoholic Anonymous? There's codependency meetings,
Like a support group?
like a support group for
Oh, wow.
codependency, because there's so many people, men and women, who suffer from codependency, and that's a childhood trauma. And usually codependency comes from, you know, it's generational. If your family, there's codependency in your family and in your ancestors and all that, it usually gets passed down because it's what you see.
Right.
So I do believe what you say, but it's the fact that they have but if they were to get help and be able to clear that codependency, they wouldn't have to do that.
Yeah.
They'd just be able to, be in a relationship for the right reasons and not for the wrong reasons. There's men out there who are with women because they can cook and clean and take care of their children. And then they're like, oh, you can't cook anymore? You want to go work? Well, then I'm going to go find someone that's going to cook and clean for me.
Yeah,
That
that's true.
machismo.
Especially in our culture, I think that's...
But that's codependency.
Yeah.
But is it like, I mean, it's really hard for me to speak on other cultures because I don't know. But working in the industry, like the food and beverage industry, you kind of see like different cultures and how they react, right, when they pay. So I've noticed like Armenians, Lebanese, like they're very big on like making it right, and flexing. And I see the girls, they're like designer. I've never seen any of them come in and they fight over the bill and they pay for the $1,000 bill, and they're very like the men are very like in control of the finances. Does that make sense? Like in their culture. And it's weird, but I did my research and they actually have a way lower rate in divorce, even though the men control like all the money and stuff. So I don't know if like that's part of the reason why divorce rates might be really high. Females have become so independent now that they don't feel like they need a man, and you don't tolerate anything, right? There's no more level of toleration because now you're able to pay for your own everything.
Yeah, but that's also scary. I think that I think it's great that us women are at a place now in the world that financially we can provide. We don't need to deal with a specific man or their ego or their pride, but I also feel like it's our way out too. Like it's just too easy to be like, I'm not doing this, like I'm out,
Yeah,
and
it's like we give up.
Yeah, it's too easy to give up because I can provide. I don't have to deal with you getting upset that I didn't pick up socks or something. You know what I mean? Like just the petty stuff that's so easy to walk away. And I do think that as women we have come long ways, but with that there's kind of an ego attached to it.
And ego's back. Go ahead, tell them about egos.
Okay, an ego. Basically your ego is the personality that you have created throughout your life. It's your ego is the person who protects you. Your ego is the one that tries to keep you safe, I guess you could say, but really your ego just keeps you in fear. And so at the end, your ego is what keeps you from moving forward. Your ego is going to keep you from getting out of that toxic relationship. Your ego is going to keep you from getting that dream job you wanted. Your ego is going to usually always drag you down. And some people always ask me, what's the difference between the ego and like actual spiritual guidance? It's easy. Your ego is always going to say really mean things, and your spiritual guidance is always going to say really beautiful things. So if you, like, let's say you want a certain job and you're going to go apply for that job, your ego is going to be like, no, we can't do this. You're not good enough. You don't have the experience. Oh my God, look at the people that are working there. They just look like way more educated than you, so on and so forth. That's your ego. Your spiritual guidance is probably going to say, you can do this. You're strong. You're smart. Give it your all. You have nothing to lose, So
it's like speaking life into you.
Exactly. So yeah, egos are everywhere. We all have them. There's actually I do one day want to talk just about the egos, and there's a lot of like kill the ego. But really the ego is a part of you, and sometimes the ego has been able to protect you from certain things. So is it okay to completely kill your ego, or is it or should you just control it from what it says to you?
Interesting.
That's a really cool. Yeah, we'll talk about that. That seems really cool. It reminds me of Naruto because he had the 9 tail inside of him and he had to control it.
I'm so eager to like. I know you've told me several times, and I'm still in shock. And I had one client once tell me, I know about the chakras because I watch
Naruto.
Oh no, what is it called? Anime.
Anime.
Oh
and
my
I looked at him. I'm
gosh.
like, that is amazing. As long as you know what they are,
Yeah,
like
right.
I'm super down with it. I don't care how you learned about it.
That's funny.
So I have another question for you guys. So like I'm really big on 50-50, right? Splitting everything down the middle. But do you think through generation we've created this thing? Because I know I told someone today, like, even though I'm 50-50, when the guy like he's like, I'm paying, there's like, you feel good.
Oh,
Mhm.
absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
you feel like,
I
and you
think-
actually brag about it, right?
Oh my gosh, yes.
like you tell your
Yes.
girl, hey, I was.
The little teenage girls coming
Yeah.
out just thinking about it. I'm like, yeah, for some, I don't know what it is about that just makes you feel so like, wow, really? Like you're gonna take care of it, you know?
Yeah.
And I think more going back to what we are saying of how I was raised with a single mom. All I've ever seen was a woman, pick up tabs, and so for me, it was always easy to say like, oh no, don't worry about it, I got it. Even though, yeah, maybe I'm not financially at certain points. Like, could I take care of it? Like, that's a lot of money, but I could
Right.
do it, and I've always found myself in that situation, but I'm now in a relationship where that's not the case anymore. And when I've been asked, or like when they take the tab, I'm just like, wow, really? Like, I don't know if it's like a, like,
And it's like that with your friends too, because I
Yeah.
know I hate going out with friends that
Yeah.
split bills to the penny, right?
yeah, same.
Like Anna and I, we have a bad habit of
Yeah.
we don't know who's gonna buy the last round. We
Yeah.
keep going,
Like,
and
I
we
got
were
it.
like
No, I
that
got
too.
it.
When Vanessa and I went out, there was never a moment where it was like, okay, can you split it? It was like,
Yeah.
got you next, I got you, or we usually had cash. So we
You
would
got
pick.
it this time. I'll get
Yeah.
it next time.
Yeah.
So I mean,
I think that's just respect though for
that
the friendship.
is,
You know what I mean?
it is.
Yeah.
I
And
think
it's like letting your friend know, like, I appreciate you. I got it. You
Also,
know?
too, all relationships, all friendships with your bosses, everything, your partners should be give and take, give and take, give and take, give and
Absolutely.
take. That's what the balance is, and that represents your heart. So if you're a person who just takes, your heart is probably really damaged. If you're a person who just gives, your heart is probably damaged as well.
Mhm.
So whenever,
balance.
yeah, there's no balance. So whenever you form a relationship with someone, it should always be give and take, and you should feel good about it. You should feel good about being able to give, and you also have to feel really good about receiving.
right.
Okay,
Like-
so there's people who are like, no,
That
no,
is-
like
yeah.
I can pay for my own meal, and it's like,
Yeah.
okay, that means there's something wrong, and you need to just kind of like accept it. Know that you're worth, like
Yeah.
you deserve it.
I
You
have
pay
to
for it.
say, I was one of those people
That
that
didn't
had
want.
I had a very hard time receiving anything, like receiving gifts, receiving like compliments. Like when people are like, "Oh, you look nice," I'm like, "Oh, really? You think so?" Like just
Yeah.
anything. It always made me feel uncomfortable. Where that came from, I don't know. But like talking about last week, how I took that relationships class, is where I really got to embrace my feminine grace and realizing like it's okay to receive. You know, like just like I have no problem giving. There's people who have no problem giving to me. You know what I mean? So
Exactly.
I have to keep reminding myself like it's okay. Just say thank you. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? And I've had friends who were in that training with me, and they've even said like, you deserve it. Like,
Yeah.
go ahead and just keep it and receive it. And even on my 30th birthday, I had a friend who planned out my whole birthday, and she's
I wasn't
like,
the friend.
it wasn't Ruby, no. But why weren't you
You
there?
have next year, Ruby.
I was there.
No, you weren't.
I was there when you were getting ready. I have Manny. I didn't have a
that's right.
babysitter.
Oh, that's right. That's right. I was
Yeah.
like, why weren't you at my birthday? No, but she did tell me like you get to this whole day you get to just embrace it and receive, and it was like overwhelming, but I now understand that like it's okay. Just
Yeah.
say thank you.
I think that, well, giving and receiving is something that has been like, I use on a daily basis, and it's something that I totally use in my practice. But the very first time I ever heard the whole like give and receive was when I was going to church, and I used to serve, and I served in the kids' classroom.
Mhm.
And so they had like a lack of teachers, and so then I was like serving at every service. And I remember like one of the leaders, she came in and she's like, "Have you been serving this whole day?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And she's like, "No, you need to receive." And I didn't understand what she was saying. I was like, "No, it's fine. Like, I'll just come next Sunday." And she's like, "No, like you have to receive, or else like what we're doing here is wrong."
Yeah.
you know. And then I
How
kind of
fascinating.
so she's like, okay, I'll find somebody to come into the kids class, and you're gonna go inside and receive. And you know what? That day I went into the church and I received, and it was such a beautiful service that I understood her point. I
Yeah.
understood that I needed the way that everyone sitting at the service walked out feeling that grace, that like, you know, taking in whatever the pastor was saying and all of that. The what is it called? La alabanza. What is
The worship?
The worship. The worship.
Yes.
Struggles
on.
of being bilingual.
La-
I know,
Ponte.
seriously. The worship, all that, like, that's probably one of my favorite things is worship.
Oh yeah, for
Yeah.
sure.
Like,
Oh,
worship
girl, I
was,
cry
ugh.
the whole time.
I was like, no, worship for me, and we had, well, they're still there. The worship team is just amazing. So, I stopped just giving, and then I started receiving, and I would give that like, hey, you know what, I already served too. Now I'm gonna go receive or something.
Do you think that's a cultural thing?
Giving?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I can't. I think it's a female thing.
Do you
Well,
think so?
I don't know, but what I wanted to add to giving, receiving real quick, because I'm a giver, but I like to give like I work with a foster family and I feed them every second Tuesday of the month. And then like when I see homeless people, if I'm next to a fast food restaurant, I buy them food. My son's school, like I've done, like I took him a taco lady one time, for the teachers because they have it hard. But what I want to say is there's nothing wrong with receiving. But if your man was gone for the whole weekend and shows up with a Louis bag, there is a problem.
Why?
Receiving that Louis bag because he was gone for the weekend.
Oh.
She said, "Girl,
I
you
just
better
heard,
get that Louis
the
bag."
Louis bag.
You're like,
I was, because I moved this, so I was like, well, what do
She's
you mean?
like,
Why did I
he,
take
she's
the
like,
Louis
he could
bag?
be gone every weekend.
No, okay, that's the
No,
problem.
yeah, and I think that actually is part of the culture too. Like you get these dudes, they get these girls that are very materialistic,
Mm-hmm.
and then the guys is out there wilding out, and then they can flex with the Louis bag or the shoes, and that's part of the culture. People think there's these like perfect relationships because the guys give, but it's like they're taking away. You know what? Your spirit. They're taking away your respect. They're
in the
taking away
relationship?
everything.
Wait, I'm confused. So these guys are out cheating? Is
Yeah.
that what
Pretty
you're
much.
saying?
Like,
Oh.
I'm
like,
saying like they disappear for a whole weekend and then
they
show
show
up
up.
when the weekend's over. And that's your man, right? They So
I'm like, yeah, okay.
I said it. No, I'm kidding.
No,
So, and I've been in a relationship like that
Mm-hmm.
where like it was reckless all weekend and then it was like I love you Monday through Thursday. And they paid for everything and they bought me all kinds of gifts and and then I was like, wait, I see what you're doing. Hold on.
All right.
Lit that
You got
shit
me
on
messed up.
fire. I'm like, I lit that shit on fire. I was like, now you're gonna come home to a burnt house. The house wasn't burnt, but you know what I mean? Like
Like a left eye situation.
yeah, I was like left. I was in the hallway, like no. But what I'm saying is like know what they're giving for, because a lot of times people give with expectation,
Yeah, that's
That
actually
is
not
true.
good at all.
Yeah.
and
Only
we live in
because-
that generation where likes are not givings in a good way.
No, only because giving with expectation, you're most likely going to be disappointed.
Oh,
and the
every
thing is,
time.
like, you're not like, okay, let's say I do something for Ruby and I'm expecting a big thank you, a big ordeal. I want her to tell everybody what I did for her and stuff. But like, she's not a mind reader. She doesn't know that that's what I want. So, like Ruby's not going to do that.
Right.
Ruby's going to be like, oh my God, thank you. And then move on with her life.
Mm-hmm.
Because it was a beautiful thing for her, but she doesn't feel the need to have to tell anybody. So guess what? Now I'm mad, and now I'm mad at her
Mm-hmm.
because she didn't
And
do
I'm
what,
like at the club with my Louis. I don't know why she
because she didn't do what I wanted her to do in my head.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like my head is like thinking of all these, like, oh, she's so ungrateful. How could she do this? But so expectations in anything, expectations with your food, expectations with, your hair, when
Mhm.
people go in there and they're like, I want this exactly.
color correction.
they
I
already
want to look
have
like
this
Khloe
whole-
Kardashian
You're tripping.
when they
What
go
happened?
black to platinum.
Yeah.
Yeah, anything like
Not
that.
happening.
Expectations are.
Someone someone said when I said that, why do we feel special when men pay for stuff even if we're like okay with 50-50? Someone said it's a woman's number one love language. It's feeling protective or taken care of. And I am not talking about financial support, like she's just saying in
Exactly.
general.
Yeah. Oh, it goes back to that hunter-gatherer
Mhm.
times. I think that, that's just men are the protectors. They're the hunters, and women have always been at the time, obviously, at home. And I
Yeah.
think that it's nice to be protected. You know what I mean?
Also, too, I know this is a little bit of like psychology, but when women grow up with their dads and they have a really good relationship with their dad, it's easier for a girl to allow a guy to take care of her. Okay, because they associate that with it being normal. Why? Your dad took care of you your whole life. You're his daughter. You guys did a lot of nice stuff. He was very loving. You guys had a beautiful relationship. So you move on and you associate your relationship, your marriage, to the kind of protection that your dad gave you, the kind of giving that your father, gave you, and what he did as a provider. But when there's girls who don't have a good relationship, or they might not even have their dads and all of that, it's really hard for them to have that same connection. They're usually going to be a little standoffish. Why? They don't trust men. They already have a bad experience. They're kind of going to put a wall up. They're going to have that daddy issue, that people talk about.
Mhm.
So I think that also has a lot to do with the way that we take the giving,
Yeah, like embrace it.
embrace it. Like,
Yeah.
oh, you're going to pay for my bill. Like, oh my God, thank you. As opposed to somebody else and be like, why?
Right.
Why are you going to pay for my bill?
But that can go either way, because a lot of, again, the whole foster care, human trafficking, a lot of those girls didn't have a dad, so it's easier to brainwash them with nice things because they've never had them.
True.
Yeah.
No, it is. But I'm saying, like,
But there's no attachment.
there's no attachment.
They're not like, wow, you're buying me a Louis bag. No, it's like an exchange.
It's like, thanks.
Yeah.
I deserve it
Yeah.
because I had a rough time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know?
There's more of a disconnection versus like when a guy pays a bill, you're just like,
Yeah. So if your man pays your bill and he's at home all weekend, you good. He's just doing it because he's trying to be nice. Okay, he buys you a Louis bag, you good. If he was there all
Yeah.
weekend with you.
I also do want to say that last week we talked about the difference between like, financial responsibility when you're married, when you're just boyfriend and girlfriend, or if you're like single. And I have some friends who have been together for, I want to say almost 20 years, and they're not married. And I think that in their situation, no matter what kind of problems they've had, there's no lack of support when it comes to finances. So ever. There's never been an issue of like, well, you know what? We're not married, so I'm sorry you're in debt. Well, that's your fault.
Yeah.
No, like they're a partnership and they have a home. They have a beautiful home. They have a child together. So I think at their end game is just to make sure that they are providers for their family, for themselves, to make sure that everyone is okay, to make sure he's okay, to make sure she's okay. So they're not married. They've been together for almost 20 years. And yeah, they've had ups and downs, like just like everybody else.
Mm-hmm.
They just don't have that paper, they just haven't had that ceremony. But I think themselves, they've committed.
Mm-hmm.
that's awesome.
They
Yeah.
they didn't have to have that. And maybe, there was a point where they did want that and it just didn't happen, and that's okay, because I think now they've realized like it didn't really matter. We're still here for each other. We still love each other. And we're going to continue on. And if they do get married one day, amazing. And if they don't, I don't think it'll change them.
That's awesome.
At our age, I'm not going to say our age.
I could say my
Don't
age.
I'm gonna
expose us.
say at our age will be the correct way. Should you expect your man or your girl or whoever you're about to date to make a certain income, because we should be at a place in our life where we should kind of have some type of stability? Is it fair to meet someone and not want to be with them because they make an X amount of money? And how, like for me, I have a son. I'm on like, I don't want you to be super wealthy, but I also want you to be in a position where you're able to handle your own. And if we have children, like, we're stable, right?
Mhm.
So to me, it's like, is it bad to not want to date someone because they have a low paying job at our age?
Well, I guess it depends on the circumstance. Like, is like what's the reason to like, let's just say if they had this job for 13 years, then I would be like, okay, do you not want to be better? Or
Right.
but if it's they got fired or they got laid off because of the pandemic and this is the only job that they can find, and it happens to be low pay, like I don't see why you would knock someone for doing their best in such a difficult time,
Mm-hmm.
However, I do expect you to have a plan, like to move up, because having children or a family, or even just having a specific lifestyle, even in just like a what do you call it, like not a low income but the
Middle class.
middle class, thank you. Like just having an average lifestyle, like it's not cheap,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
I mean, I would hope that my partner would desire to have more, but I personally wouldn't knock them
Yeah.
for how much they bring in.
I don't. I really don't think about stuff like that. I used to. I used to be like, oh well, they have to move up, and because I want this and I want that, and like all these things, or just myself. But then I realized that it doesn't really matter what you do, because there's people, and you have to be very compassionate and considerate of this. There's people out there that have really, really high positions, really good paying jobs, that are miserable,
Yeah.
That's true.
and they don't even want to wake up in the morning,
Mm-hmm.
but they've already kind of made that reputation for themselves, and they don't even know how to get out of it. So for me, I was a hostess for a really long time, and I could tell you that I loved being a hostess.
Oh,
Did
I could tell you
you?
she loved being a hostess.
Really?
I love being a hostess. I love talking to people. I love
That's awesome.
smiling. I'd be like, all right, we're going to smile at every single person. Let's see who smiles back. Like, I would do stuff like that. And I was like constantly, hey, hi. And, it was just one of my favorite jobs. And I love being around people. I love human connection. And so I remember telling my husband, if I could, if I wasn't doing what I'm doing now, which I love as well, I'd be a hostess. And, I don't think that I'm ever, as a hostess, could make, $200K a year. Like,
Mhm.
I
Right,
just
yeah.
can't.
Hmm.
But I loved it, and I was happy. And
Same thing with teachers. A lot of them
Yeah.
do it because they love it, not because of the pay.
Exactly. So
But-
no, I wouldn't knock on anybody.
The reason I'm asking this is because, like, okay, I don't make tons of money, but I've been put in situations where, like, I like traveling with my kid, and I do a lot with my kid. Everyone that knows me knows that. I've been put in situations where I'm dating someone or I'm in a relationship with someone, and because they don't have the financial ends to travel with us, it becomes an issue
Mhm.
An issue to who?
to them.
Oh, to them. Okay.
Because now it's like, well, how are you going to go without me? Well, I'm not going to pay for you. You're grown.
Yeah.
Right?
Why wouldn't you, if that's your partner and you want them to go with you, why wouldn't you help them?
No, there's a difference between me helping you and you helping yourself.
No, but I mean, if they're like, that's your boyfriend or someone that you're your partner, and they genuinely just don't have the money for it.
But if
like,
you're my boyfriend, I'm not going to pay for you to go on a vacation with me.
I mean,
Especially if it's not a committed relationship. If we're still like, you're just dating. Like, and I'm not going to put myself in a situation where I'm taking money out of my kid's pocket to give it to you because you feel some type of way. You don't have to go. Like, if I date a guy who has children and they're going on a trip and I cannot attend that trip,
Mhm.
I'm not going to expect them to pay for it. I'm going to suck it up.
Now,
right?
if they offered, it's a
If
different.
they offer it's
Right.
different, but I will still try to
Yeah.
figure out, like, where can I do a side job or where can I work a couple extra
Mhm.
hours overtime.
Mhm.
But it's happened to me twice
Mhm.
where I'm in a relationship and they can't travel or they can't do this and they can't do that, and then it's like, okay, well, do you want me to help you? Like, I offer, like, okay, well, I'll pay for the hotel, like, don't give me
Right,
money for
right.
the hotel. But then it's still an issue because they're like, well, I can't take time off.
Well, that's
Well,
different,
at that
yeah.
point,
Yeah.
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
it's
help
kind
me
of
help you.
exactly
I can't help you.
right. You don't save she don't want to. Yeah, remember that song?
Yeah.
No?
Yeah,
Okay.
that's different because
Yeah.
they're not. It's not like they're like, well, you know what, I just can't go. Like, I need you to pay for every. But if you're like, okay, well, how about I pay for the hotel? You just have to pay for your flight, and
Yeah.
we'll split dinner or something. But if they're just, they can't even take time off. Well, there's nothing you can do there anyway.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
But that's what I mean. Like, that's why sometimes I can get a little tricky. And there are people that aren't motivated and aren't ambitious. And it's not ambitious. And I don't feel like it's fair for anyone to tell someone, like, this is what you got to do. This is how much, you know what I mean?
Right.
I feel like, but I do feel like at our age, there's a level of stability people should have.
Mm-hmm.
Period.
Yeah.
Do you know
I
what
mean,
I'm
it just
saying?
goes back to the circumstances of their life, you know. I mean, you just never know what people are going through, whether it's, you know, again, being laid off, or whether they've been incarcerated, you know what I mean? Or if they were, I don't know, I'm just thinking of anything. Maybe they moved from
And
a
you also
different
have
state.
to see, like, their financial, like, choices.
Oh, for sure.
Because
yeah.
there'd be people that don't make a lot of money and then they're making the worst, or they're flexing to make themselves feel better. And it's like, what are you flexing for? Like, you know, like, don't flex. So I guess it plays like a lot of like factors. To me, I can't date someone who can't afford to travel just because that's just something I'm passionate about. And what I've experienced is it comes with a lot of jealousy. When you start taking those trips and they can't go, it becomes a jealousy and it gives them insecurities. And I don't think it's fair for the person to stop traveling. And I don't think it's fair for that person to feel the way they feel. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So that's why splitting things down the middle is such a big deal to me too, because it's like, okay, well, let's just split it. It's cheaper for both of us. But I don't know, like,
I just, when I think of traveling with a partner, I don't see how difficult it can really be. I mean, obviously, yeah, the money is a big thing. Taking time is a big thing. But if you plan in advance, there should be plenty of opportunity
I
to
agree.
save. And you
But
know what I mean?
again, that goes back to like people doing dumb stuff with their money. And that is immaturity too. Like, if I'm telling you we're going on a trip in 3-4 months,
Yeah.
and you don't have money in 3-4 months, I'm not paying for you. You had a whole
That's
ass
true.
90
Well, yeah, I mean,
days.
that's totally different.
That's true, yeah.
But, you know, and that's why it's like, I'm going to meet you halfway. And, you know, because no side should ever, because it could go the other way. I could be like, he could tell me, like, hey, we're going to go on a trip. And I'm like, hey, Raider tickets. And, you know, because I like to go to a sports game.
Mm-hmm.
That isn't fair for them. And that's kind of where my 50-50 always lands in the middle, because I think it's fair. Always. It never leaves room for it not being fair.
Mm-hmm. I think there's always a way to balance everything in life. There's a way to balance your relationships. There's a way to balance work life. There's a way to balance everything. It's just really hard because
Yes.
it's really, really difficult because us as humans, we want to do so much.
Yes.
We let our ego get involved.
Mhm.
And so we make these different decisions and choices. And but balance is really, really difficult with our human brain.
Yeah.
We'd have to really, really focus and have to be very structured in order to achieve
Okay.
balance.
Agreed.
So-
I definitely agree with that. The balance is like, I feel like that is like the mystery of life.
Mhm. I mean,
but-
people, there's people out there that completely give up their entire life just to find balance,
Yeah.
Yeah.
you know? And I mean, I don't know how much you guys actually are, you know, look into this or have noticed, but there's so many people now that are quitting their jobs,
Yes.
that are
Yeah, I've
moving
noticed,
off
yes.
grid, that are just completely
Getting up
over
and
the
leaving.
system.
Yeah.
And I think that's where we're coming. We have
Yeah,
this
that
massive this mass awakening where people are just wanting balance,
Yeah.
you know? Also, I do think that completely, you know, leaving your life and moving to the middle of nowhere where there's like not a single human around, I don't think that's balance,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
But I understand how frustrated someone can be to where they feel that that's what they need at the time,
Absolutely.
you know? So, I mean, when I see them sometimes, I'm like, oh, that little river looks so nice. I want to have my tea right by that river.
Yeah, right?
You know, but at the same time, I'm like, well, I really enjoy my drive-through tea, you know?
Yeah, agreed.
So, there's balance. There has to be.
There has to be. So we agree that circumstances and balance is key to who pays more.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And don't accept gifts, so they're MIA for the whole weekend and then
Right.
show with a Louis bag.
Still
Unless,
take the
unless
Louis.
they were working their butts off that whole weekend
They
to
should
buy
still
you that.
text you.
I think you should still take the
Everyone-
Louis and then kick them out.
Everyone makes time for what's important to them.
Bravo,
Don't
sis.
forget that.
Bravo.
And time is the most valuable gift
Absolutely.
anyone can give you. And don't play yourself. Everyone has time. Everyone.
I agree.
Period. I mean, we're here and we're all moms and we all have
Yes.
jobs.
Yeah.
Yes.
and we're making time for this.
Yeah.
And you guys, thank you for making time to watch
Yeah.
Breaking Apart.
Yes.
Not Breaking
Thank you
Bad.
so much.
Thank you. We love you guys. And
I think that's it. I think
think that's it for
that
today.
we just wanted to meet halfway and agree. I know I'm a little more.
Thanks for letting me be on again.
Oh, thank you for coming on.
Yeah,
Can I come
seriously,
again
thank
next
you.
week?
Of course. We normally
it
don't know
juicy.
what are we going to talk about next week?
We do have two we'll figure it out, but we do have a host that's going to come in that I am extremely excited about in the next week or two. One of my favorite humans. He's part of AWA, Asians with Attitude, an activist for Asian cruelty.
Okay.
I'm so excited to have him. He's like, I love him. That's my baby. Well, not my baby. That's not, but like my baby. So I'm excited to have him.
I can't wait.
Yeah, and you know, like Vanessa knows him too, but
Mhm.
I'm so proud of him, and he's gonna have so many good things to talk about, and I hope he really opens up about certain things that I'm looking forward to him opening up about.
Can you say his name?
Kevin Lou.
Kevin, can't wait.
I know we can't wait to have you on the show, Kev. So,
Let me know when you guys have more cheese meal, okay?
oh,
can
we
come
have
back.
cheese meal all the time. We're
Just
Latinas.
call me. if
No,
want.
you know
Yeah,
what?
I'm like,
Hold on. No cheese man. I'm raising my vibrations.
I know.
I even drank water today. There's no micheladas in this cup.
Yeah.
I'm going to the gym. I'm raising my
Yes.
vibrations.
Ruby, we had a conversation last night, and I'm like, you just need to raise your vibration. And then she's like, okay, no michelada. No, do I need no alcohol? Okay. And then she's like, I need to do this. I need to raise my vibration. I'm not doing this because I need to raise my vibration. I'm like, Ruby.
I was at work today. I was like, everyone's doing
Oh, no,
wonderful.
cheese because cheese man lowers the vibration.
It does?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, can we change the word cheese meal into something else?
We can call it
Educational.
yeah.
Information of people we don't like.
information. Yeah.
All right, you guys. So thank you so much. Again, you can follow me at Instagram. Soy la misma Ruby. Juan is like, he laughs at everything. We're over here. What is it called? El corro.
No, alabanza.
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 That's so, I'm sorry. But you can follow me at Soy la misma Ruby on Instagram. You can also follow us on breaking_apart_pod at Instagram. You can follow Vanessa at,
Agape love _Reiki.
what does agape mean?
Agape means unconditional love.
Yes.
Raise your vibration, guys.
Don't drink. And if you drink,
Call Ruby.
Call Ruby.
make sure it's water.
Yes.
And you can follow me at Anna Shell.
Yeah, we
On
can't wait to
Instagram.
see you guys. And you guys have questions if anybody wants. Actually, we have a couple people that want to come on the show. We're just gonna find things to talk about with them. Most of them are men. Thank you guys. I'm getting kicked out.
Bye.
Go Dodgers!